Mike,
You may steer, sir.
what a titillating note you have given our screeners here. So we're on the line.
Yeah.
Mike, you're on the line with Matt and Jimmy. And it
Perfect.
says here that you are an
Oh my
atheist.
God.
However, you are here to defend the claim that everything in the Bible is true. Just the things that the way people are interpreting the Bible is wrong.
Perfect. Yeah. So I've been looking at this and working on this for a while, and I think you're going to like it, something new to chew on. So the idea goes like this. When we read this book, the Bible, there's this grand assumption that happens right in the beginning when we read from the first line, in the beginning. If you notice, the Bible doesn't explicitly state what the beginning is. So there's a grand assumption about what the beginning is, and I think the grand assumption is that people assume it means all of existence. So I've been looking at it through a different angle and thinking that it could mean something else, some other beginning. So what it could actually mean is the beginning of you, the reader. And I've been looking at this, so here's what happens. This is so right in the next few lines, it states that the earth is created before light. Now, in the way of looking at it, the story would begin with you in the womb at about 15 weeks. So your body is already created in the heavens in your mind. And what happens is the light comes on. So it would make sense in that order. And I've been working on this for a while, and I got a lot of things that match up to other things in reality. So,
Mike, are you laughing because this is a joke?
No, I'm nervous because
Mike, you've basically done what every religious person does, despite the fact that you aren't religious, and gone, I have a special version of the way I want this all to work. So you're not a Christian apologist, apparently. But you are a Mike apologist, a Mike's reading of the Bible apologist, where you go, I'm going to make this fit. The Bible is clearly states things that are incongruent with reality, and they will go, yeah, but what if you just twist it this way and make this fit? So, Mike, somebody wrote the words in the beginning. Please don't breathe directly into the microphone. This is not helping your, is this a troll call or not? Okay, great. Mike, somebody wrote the words in the beginning. How do we establish whether or not your interpretation of in the beginning is the correct interpretation versus the interpretation of, say, mainstream Christianity, or the interpretation of biblical scholars whose job it is to seek out the original context and support it with other knowledge? How do we determine which one is correct?
Right, I understand. I think what I'm saying is, my point is that it doesn't explicitly say what the beginning is.
I know that. I know, but you said, Mike, Mike, stop. My question wasn't, does it say? You said everyone else is interpreting it wrong. You are saying that the Bible is true completely and that you have the true interpretation. So you have an interpretation. Scholars have an interpretation. Young Earth creationists have a different interpretation. Amongst all Christians, you'll find tons of interpretations. Yours is the one you say is true. How do you support that yours is true and that, say, a Christian scholar is false, is wrong?
Okay, well, what I feel that it's the story is actually describing is the process of human being in womb becoming a sentient being and the mind turning on. And
Mike, what question did I just ask you?
I have to interrupt, Mike, because that is not at all a response to the question that Jimmy just asked you.
Mike, what question did I ask you?
You're right. Go ahead.
Am I all right? Mike, what question did I just ask you?
I'm sorry, but I'm nervous.
I get it. What question did I just ask you?
He doesn't know.
I believe you asked me what was the validity to the interpretation as being like mirrored to a truth, and I'm saying that it's mirrored to it's mirrored to a process of human being becoming, from birth.
Mike, I'm going to ask the question again. If you need me to ask it again, just request, because that wasn't the question.
Sure.
You have an interpretation which you believe is true. I'll just pick one random person. A biblical scholar has an interpretation that it is describing the beginning of the earth. Or you could go with the universe, but we'll go with the earth. That's just one of many interpretations. You have one, they have the other. How do you establish that yours is true and that theirs is false?
Well, I think that theirs relies more on the idea of a supernatural element to the explanation, whereas I'm just saying that what this book is saying is simply it's describing a natural process that happens. And
Mike,
it's saying it in a way
you don't understand the question, I think, from fundamentally. I'll let Matt go because I'm getting frustrated. You're not ever answering my question. Go ahead, Matt.
Mike, what's the Hebrew word used in Genesis 1 for earth?
I don't know that, but I'm saying that it's if you just read the King
do you
James,
know Hebrew at all?
Another book.
Do you know Hebrew at all?
Some of it, not to speak it.
Okay, so would you agree that Genesis 1:1 was written in Hebrew originally?
I don't even know if it matters because I feel that the story goes back as far as we can.
I don't.
Tell,
you know what
actually.
I know doesn't matter? You avoiding the fucking question you're being asked. That's what doesn't matter. Keep dodging. You've shown up with what you think is your personal esoteric reinterpretation of it, and despite that, you don't know what the words actually say. And you don't think it matters whether or not it was written in Hebrew. The issue here is there was someone who wrote with an original intent, and you think that you've interpreted the correct original intent and that every Jew for the history of that book has gotten it wrong. Despite them being native speakers of a language, experts on studying this, you got it right. What on earth could your justification possibly be for the people who are the best understanding of this, getting it consistently wrong for the history of this writing, and you got it right?
Well, I mean, I think it's just I don't know how they got and arrived to their conclusions, but all I can say is that I just wanted to pass the idea that it's in agreement with what you're saying is that you don't believe in a God, and that would agree with that. But it's to say that when the creators created the word God or used it, what did they mean?
Mike, do you think that the people who originally wrote Genesis, do you think they believed in a God?
No.
Then you're an
I think
idiot.
they were talking about concepts of mind.
Then you're an idiot.
Okay.
Upon what basis do you justify that, Mike?
What's the second word in Genesis 1:1?
The second word, the.
No. The second word is Elohim.
I mean, that's in a different book, but I should have said I'm referring only to the King James Version.
I'm reading it in Hebrew. The second word is Elohim. The first word is Reshith. Reshith is what's translated into English as in the beginning. And it's specifically the beginning of everything, despite the fact that you don't seem to know that. But the second word is Elohim, which is God.
But that could be the mind, because as far as your mind's concerned, that is everything.
No, sir. No, sir. I'm sorry that you have absolutely no education or understanding of this and think that you can take a bong rip, look at the Bible, and make it say whatever you want, but nobody should and nobody does give a fuck about your esoteric, dude, what if it's about just humans? There's zero reason for anybody on the planet to think that Mike's flawed understanding of Genesis 1:1 is more accurate than all of the experts who've ever looked at it.
Mike, let's say you were somehow correct, which you aren't, but let's say you were somehow correct and it's actually about the human body. Where did these thousands of year old people get their embryology knowledge from that they were writing down?
Well, I don't know that I'm saying that they're talking so much about the metaphysic of it, but they're talking about the creation of the self, the idea of the self.
You literally talked about the baby in the womb as the light versus the earth. So, Mike, you're literally making this shit up off the top of your head. Honestly, I kind of wish you were a theist and not an atheist, because I am terrified by the idea that somebody will meet you and believe that you represent atheism. And there are there's a lot of atheists, and you are, my goodness, Mike, you literally want to argue that things that you have just come up with in your head might be more accurate than scholarship, than what historians, in referencing lots of other things that you
in a language you don't know.
Right. You might know better what the word Elohim means only, by the way, in that verse, despite the fact that it is continued to be used through the book and it's clearly referencing God. But this was the time they switched it to match your thing. And by the way, you and atheists go, but I also see apparently that the English version of the King James Bible is the ultimate authority by which I can deduce these things. You have all of your work ahead of you. Please, please learn how to actually be a skeptic, how to actually evaluate claims. Read a single scholar. I don't even care if they're a full-on Christian at this point.
There's one other thing to drive the point home. It says here, Mike, that you claim to be an atheist and a theist?
Well, no, because I don't consider myself to be either.
It says here, that the call screener put a note that says Mike claimed he is an atheist and a theist. Did you claim that to the call screener?
I did, yes.
Then why, when I fucking asked you, did you lie? Liar.
Because they didn't give me an option of not accepting.
Why did you lie, you liar? Don't blame it on whether or not they give you an option. I asked you a question, you fucking lied to my face. And by the way, now you're saying you're neither. Those are the only two options. Those are the only two options. And first you told the call screener you were both. And then when asked about it, you lied and claimed you were neither. Why should anybody listen to anything you say for the rest of the universe? You fucking liar who thinks you can be neither or both for two exhaustive options. Thank you, sweetie.
Mike, do you believe that a God exists?
No.
Then you are an atheist.
Congrats. And a liar.
Well, that's what I told your screener, but I didn't want to be associated with the atheist.
Buddy, I don't want you associated with the atheist.
We don't want you associated with this either forever. The less association I have with you, Mike, the better off the next 55 years of my life will be.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't realize you were doing us a favor. Thank you.
Don't ever call again, Mike, and you won't have to be associated with us, and I won't have to make you look like the dipshit you are.
Wild. What a wild... I'm neither. I don't want to be associated with.
I'm both. I'm neither. I'm both. I'm neither.
Which just goes to further show this whole concept of his personal interpretations. Clearly he thinks are more weighted than what words actually mean.
I like the fact that, I'm sorry, I thought you could.
No, go on.
I was just saying, I like that. So here's the thing. You and I have taken callers from theists of a wide variety of different beliefs, and some of them end up making themselves look really foolish. And so there are people who think that our goal is to make theists look foolish. No, my goal is to make fools look foolish so the other fools, whether they are theist or atheist, stop being foolish. I don't want there to be foolish atheists out there. I don't want there to be foolish theists out there. I don't want foolish atheists making arguments on our behalf that are bad, that shift the burden of proof, that misrepresent things. I don't want theists out there making bad arguments. There's a reason why Friday night, Than and I had an enjoyable, productive discussion, despite the fact that we disagree strongly on foundations of epistemology and things. There's a reason why neither of us are running around saying, oh, you know what happened? There were people like, Than just outperformed and demolished Matt. And somebody else is like, Matt just outperformed and demolished Than. These aren't WWE events, you dipshits.
Yeah, no
You've been
kidding.
watching too much modern day debates. And for my participation in that, I apologize again, because we shouldn't be having the Jerry Springer level of discussions. We should be moving things forward a little bit more, which means if all you've got, and by the way, if somebody like Mike has their own personal esoteric understanding of Genesis, that's perfectly fine, as long as they can demonstrate that they have a baseline understanding of the scholarship and can explain how and why they depart from the scholarship. But if they don't know anything about the scholarship, don't know anything about the passage, and they're just saying, you know what, dude, I read it, and I think you could interpret this as if it's just talking about, in the beginning was in the beginning of like you. Oh, cool. So in the beginning of me, there was the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And he separated the light from the darkness and called it the morning. And that was the first day. And there's the firmament and the waters. And we continue on. And then he created all the land animals and the sea animals and the birds and the people. And yes, that's all a perfect description of God creating me. I mean, it is an absolute waste of time.
If anything can mean anything, if you just agree that everything is metaphorical, what isn't true?
Hey, it's Jimmy Snow here. I'm the executive producer on the line with a fun fact. Did you know 100% of the hosts of this channel enjoy eating? It's true. And if you would like to help contribute to their ongoing addiction, you can do so by going over to Patreon or becoming a channel member. There are show-specific, host-specific tiers. Those are awesome. But also, you can leave a super thanks with a special little highlighted comment. You can like, comment, and subscribe. All of those will help fill our whittle bellies. By the way, check out some of this content over here. Algorithm, what next?